scrappers, how you doing today? We're sitting in that sort of nebulous land between Christmas and New Year's. We're going to go through a couple of things that, well, the first thing I want to do is I want to say again, in case you guys didn't see my other video, my YouTube short about getting a strip meister. The other thing that Santa brought me and was definitely worth mentioning is this tiny little mold here. I have a furnace, and which I haven't used. I'm not going to use it until the spring or so. But what I like about this furnace is, about this particular mold, is that it's for very small items. And what I plan to do, I'm thinking of making a board game called Scrapper's Gold, and I want to use actual bars with the actual metal. We'll see how crazy this thing can get. But anyway, I might use this for that. If that happens, well, you'll see videos on it. I hope. Anyway. Today mostly going to be working on AC power adapters. Most of them are all pretty much the same. Yeah, pretty simple, straightforward sort of a deal. Basically a switch and some wires. So we'll cut the wires, we'll get some insulated wire out of the deal. Obviously not worth very much, but it's worth salvaging just because I have the time. I do see some things here that I'm going to see if they happen to be brass. Because if they are, then I might get something out of this anyway. Then we're going to go to some more predictable things that will look easier to scrap, and I know my way around them a little more than these mystery items. Let's see what that sucker is. Magnet? Nope, so far we got good news. File? Pretty sure that's going to be brass. Oh, I think I'm wrong. That is copper. There we go. Got some copper here, actually. I don't know how well that reflects off, but very surprised. Okay, so a couple little pieces of copper. I'll take copper. Copper's good. Or try to. If I can't clean it up quickly, I'll just move on to the next thing. But obviously, if I want to get number 2 copper for this, I want to clean it up as much as possible so I don't have any arguments with the scrapyard. The scrapyard I'm dealing with are awesome, and I went to see them the other day. That's my second visit ever to the scrapyard. And walked out with a whopping 23 bucks. So, except I forgot a loonie in the machine. That's Canadian dollars, by the way, for any of you, my American friends, which makes it something like, I don't know what, $1.98 American for the, anyway. So, yeah, it's, exchange rate's a little brutal there for you folks down south. You guys are losing all my shtick, sorry. So here's on the inside of that AC powered adapter, and I didn't realize my camera had kind of fallen down on the job. Now I'm losing all my best shtick, so let's go back to this. There's a little donut in there, and they've put it in a nice takeaway package. And we've got a ceramic capacitor, and it's wearing a sweater. And it must come from a hot country because, you know, it's quite cold here in Canada. And then we've got this little deal that's going to give me fun because it's just this nice little reel of copper. And then we've got the transformer, which is small, meh. And then we have another loose donut over here. These are all the things I really, really like in for scrapping. All these nice little nuggety goody things. Might be a relay here, I'm not sure. We'll check that because I'm not familiar enough yet with what's a relay and what isn't, so we'll find out. And again, if you've got tricks and tips as to how I can tell whether something, for example, is a relay quickly, I know that if there's certain writing on it, it's probably a relay because relays have cool stuff in it like copper, brass, silver contact, that kind of stuff. And I know there's silver contacts are kind of this thing that, as far as I know, It's kind of like all the micro scrappers collect them, but I'm not sure if I've actually heard anybody do anything with them in that. Hey, try the takeout donut. One thing I realized I had here is my flathead screwdriver. It's going to be in the garage. I can't survive without a flathead screwdriver. I'm going to have to go get that. So I was preparing all my wire for my stripmeister, and this is why I got so many ends and bits kicking around here. Now, that's not to say that all the things are going into stripmeister, but what I did was I cut off all the ends of everything, and then I went through it and figured out what I'm going to try to put through the stripmeister and what's too small, so it's just going to end up in insulated wire, which at my scrapyard I get, the latest price I got for it is 80 cents a pound. That's Canadian, of course. And the vast majority of the wire I did take out of the box of wire that I have that's where it's destined for. That's what it is. And I'm totally fine with that, and I'm going to be very happy to take the rest of it and turn that into number 2 copper, which gets, again, Canadian dollars, $4.20 a pound here. And there's very little difference between copper 2 and copper 1 in price. So, for those of you that are my Canadian friends, I have another question. For you. What do you do with your smaller circuit boards? Do you just completely depopulate them? And I know you can certainly set aside a lot of things from them, like your tantalite capacitors and your ceramic capacitors, blue M&Ms, all that stuff. And but then there's other things that are not worth that much, but the board itself may have still some metals on it, especially if you've got gold flash on it and stuff. What do you do with your boards? Do any of you, my Canadian friends here, any of you send stuff to Board Sort? What's that experience like? How has that been going for you? I don't think I'm going to be a person that sends to Board Sort. I think I'm going to depopulate what I know to depopulate off of boards, and I may find homes for some of those materials, whether that's me finding some place that'll take them, or whether that's some of you folks out there that I've started to get to know that will take those materials and can send them somewhere or do something with them. But at least you're collecting them for now until you figure it out, which is fine as well. I might be happy to give you what I got and then let you figure it out. And when you do, I'll be curious to hear back from you. Here's my ceramic capacitor. I'm not sure. I don't think that's considered an IC. Anyway, not worried about that right now. That's not what I got my eyes on this prize right here. So let's try to get that in the next prize. Alright, let's see what we got in this thing. Let's just keep unwinding this. I unwind to unwind. Sorry guys, those are the jokes. Those are the jokes. That's what you're going to get from me. Okay, so there's one half of it. And we'll make that lovely little bundle. And there we go. Probably what? Let's find out. How much does that weigh? I'm going to say it weighs 1.5 grams. Let's find out. 1.88 grams. Okay, so it's worth about 2 cents, man. That's about 2 cents of copper. roughly. Okay. Now, what else we got on this thing? This thing that might be a relay, it does have some writing on it. Or it might be just one of these dumb things that has glue and a bunch of foil. Looks like that's what it is. Let's just double check. Yeah, it's not a relay. Okay, off you go. This one here, we'll get rid of that little M&M. It's not really an M&M, but it's a ceramic capacitor, and I'm not sure which ones are. I know the blue ones are good for. Some of them are good for silver. Worth your time to do these small transformers is a very kind of a highly personal question, because it depends on your situation, if you enjoy taking them apart, if you have the time to do it, if you don't mind the time it takes to do it, if you enjoy doing it. It's a very, very personal decision. And so, you know, I will sometimes start taking one apart and decide, yeah, no, this isn't going well, and I'll give up on it. Some other times I'm like, yeah, this is going well. I'm going to be able to get some copper out of this. This is going to be fun. And, you know, I don't worry too much about the fact that, you know, I might be only getting 5 cents of copper out of it. On the other hand, there's some things that, you know, like if I've got to struggle with it for 20 minutes and then that's all I get out of it, well, I want the prize. I do want the prize. It's no use doing it if there isn't something, right? So, anyway, in this particular case, this is not a very lucrative little transformer. It's pretty garbagey, to be honest. I think that's pretty safe to say that was kind of a bust. Okay, so what do we end up with? Tiny itty bitty little bit of copper. Definitely one of those transformers I would have been probably better off just to leave it. It really wasn't worth anything. Okay, now to something a little bit more predictable. One of these kind of guys. Off go the granny glasses. Back here, alright. So glad I'm editing this, because otherwise it would have long parts in between.
Those leggings on a scale of 1 to 10. One is never get them from me again. 10 is they're all in love.
I'm just going to do like that. I was hoping to get more of it, but I'll take what I can get. And I'm just going to double check it, because it's not 100% chance that it's brass, although I'm thinking of seeing, yeah, that's brass. I have come across one instance where they were not brass, amazingly enough. Alright, that piece goes there. Now what do we have in here? We've got the usual stuff. We've got one of those little reels of copper, which is cool. We've got a MOSFET, and the MOSFETs, a couple of different things to do with that. We've got a component here. I don't know if that's a resistor, but the point is that that's a copper leg. We've got a blue M&M. We've got a little transformer, a itty bitty one. Okay. We've got a capacitor, and then a thing which I'm going to find out if it's a relay or not. See a diode on there, but we're going to leave that. The aluminum capacitors look like they should be worth something, but they're not. Alright, where do we start? Let's start with this. And for those who don't know, these are made of copper. It's got copper on the inside. but you have to get it out of its packaging in order to get at it. You heard about the octopus that came across the bagpipes, eh? I was wondering which relative of his that is and where they got those fancy pajamas. That's the G-rated version of that joke, just so you know. There's another version of it that's not G-rated. So if you can find a way to break it off of here, and there's plenty of different ways to do that. I'm just going to try giving it a little bit of a whack here. There we go. Now we've got little plastic pieces flying everywhere. Success. Should have probably did that with my glasses on. So don't do as I do. Do as I say. And there we go. You end up with this little piece of copper. Decent little piece of copper. That's just a lot of people don't remove them, and it's a matter of the way that their time is structured and what they actually can do. There was another part to this. M&M. Itty bitty bitty transformer. Now, always the question, is it worth it? Don't know. Let's try. I hit something because I got a spark out of that. And thank you, Uncle Scrap, for pointing this out to me, using the table when you can rather than your hands. Saving yourself a little bit. It definitely does save you. There we go, we got some copper out of this deal. So this is kind of one of those deals where I'll go for the low hanging fruit. If I can, whatever I can get easily out of here, I will get that easily out of here. Anything that's too much trouble for such a small thing, I'm not going to do. You know, don't spend a long time on these. Decide what you're going to do with them, and do it, and then move on, because they don't produce a lot of copper in the end, but they are fun to unwind when you can get a decent unstringing. Like this is not bad. I think there's still some stuff in there. I'll dig around a little bit more, and then if I don't get anything, then I'm going to move on. And if you don't know who I'm referring to when I say Uncle Scrap, I'm talking about Scrap and All. He has got great videos because they're very instructional and provides a number of different options. And he'll show you things certainly way better than anything I could show you. And certainly a good source of inspiration and mentor of mine for sure. And you can tell him that Daniel's son sent you. Look away at that copper wire. I'm still getting all the crap out of it though. White putty stuff. So very satisfying. I find it to be very satisfying. Even though it's not worth a whole lot, it's still salvaging the copper. Alright. copper there. And then we've still got this one. There's the other winding of copper. There we go. We got that little piece. Nice little piece. And there's people who don't really care about the relays, but maybe the very small ones are, yeah, I understand about the very small ones, but the ones that are, you know, big enough that you can get that copper contact and a little bit of copper brass out of it, I mean, to me it's worth it. Okay, let's get those ceramic capacitors out. And then the only thing left on this thing that I'm interested in is this guy right here. And so, because the leg here, I will show you. Run the file through that. And you can see, I think, from the color, I'm not sure if you can pick that up or not. But you'll have to trust me, that's copper. So, that's that rest of that board. Alright, well, thanks for sharing some time with me today, just going through and just doing some very casual hand scrapping on power adapters and other things like it, and continue to work on this massive bucket I've got of it, and not massive, but for me. And I will let you go at that, and I want to thank you for tuning into Scrap and Lou, and hope that the rest of your holiday is wonderful. Drive safely, love one another, and God bless. Scrap and Lou out.